after that, in that year, I met Les and we became best friends. I met my now girlfriend Nina, and we're in love and we've been together and we're buying our first house in a couple of months and we've been traveling around the world and all these things, and a lot of that came from this just kind of shift in my life in around 2016, and part of that was that freedom, but a big part of that was the Wim Hof event. And it wasn't just Wim, it wasn't just the breath work, it wasn't just the cold, it was the community, it was all of it coming together at this beautiful moment in my life. So anyway, jumping back into the Wim Hof piece, we take the bus for 2 or 3 hours from Prague airport back into Poland, because I was already in Poland for a few days. We get to this big, beautiful hostel, don't really call it, and we're all sharing rooms. I've never been in a hostel before. Oh my God, I'm sharing a bedroom with some adults. This is really weird. I've never done this. That's out of my comfort zone as well. And we jump into the first day. So we go to sleep that night. We see Wim very quickly. He's knackered, shattered. I don't know what you say in America. We say, knackered, tired. He says a quick hello and he goes off. And then the next morning, it's like, right, get into your groups. So we had 3 groups of 20. We had Bart, who I just showed you in that picture. He was our instructor. And you're in that group then for really 5 days. You'll come back together a couple of times, but really you're in that community and that group. So you get to know each other, and boom, straight away we're into the breath work. So we go down into the basement of the hotel. Never done breath work before. I think I might have tried doing the Wim Hof method on my bed once, about a month before I went, or a few weeks before I went, and I got a bit tingly and a bit nervous, wasn't sure what was going on. So anyway, we're doing the breath work in the dark, in the basement, and my chest is going crazy. I think it was me that the instructors were kind of pointing at in a nice way. They're like, stop using your chest, use your belly. I was like, what the hell? How do you even do what does that even mean? So I had no idea what I was doing. We're mouth breathing, which is the way to go. And we can talk about nose, I'm sure, today as well. And nothing really great happened from that first breath work, if I'm really honest. It was nice. I was like, okay, I got a bit tingly. Oh, it was okay. Anyway, from there, you get into your pants, your underwear, and you're straight outside. It's -2, -3. You're barefoot. You're doing this horse stance, and you're doing a bit of, trying to get the blood going, get the excitement going. I was like, this is a bit weird. I'm a repressed Brit. We don't do this sort of stuff. But I was, go with it. And as time went on, we did that. We went for a walk. And then one of the guys that was on there, he was a police officer from somewhere in Holland, I think. I wouldn't say it's a panic attack, but he had a bad reaction to the cold. And that really spooked me, because it wasn't that cold, but it just happens sometimes. And we had to put a fleece on him and look after him. And we were just walking through a forest at midday. So that kind of put a bit of nervousness into me. And then we got to this really cold river, and I put my hand in the stream. We all did. And I think it's freezing cold water. And we all did that for 60 seconds, I think, or 2 minutes. So just hold your hand in there as long as you can. And then we went for a walk again. And just a few minutes later, because now, can you see what's going on there? That hand, the one that was in the cold water, has got more dexterity and can move better than the hand that hasn't been. That was frozen and couldn't move. But what happened, I think, is all the vessels had kind of gone into a bit of contraction, then opened up. So that was really interesting. But the real big thing for me, the thing that was probably one of my biggest game changers of that weekend, or that week, I should say, was the first night. So we go to Wim's house. He's got a house in Poland. You can see it on the Vice documentary. We weren't in the house, we were in the hostel. So you go to Wim's house. It's like, wow. And Wim's there as well. His dog's there. And he's got 2 saunas in that house. And outside, he has got a brick bath. I think you can see it on the Vice documentary. It can hold like 4 people. It's probably got a tap with some water that comes in. It fills up. It's a decent size. We had to crack the ice to get into that bath, and it's pitch black, by the way. And I think Wim's now wife was there as well, and she's saying, "Be careful, because if you slip, you're going to crack your head open." And I was like, "That is the last thing I need to hear right now," because I was already nervous. So you kind of slipping around on this outdoor bath, and I thought, I need to be the first one in here, because if I don't go into that bath, then I'm not going to be able to get in, because this is the first test of the cold. So I get in. And it wasn't Bart, it was another instructor. He's there with a big coat on. He's got a scarf, he's got the hat, he's got the gloves. And I'm in this cold, bloody bath. And he's like, relax, breathe into it. And I'm like, it's easy for you to say, you're not in here with me. And I was trying to make a bit of a joke of it and play some humor with it. And anyway, I didn't relax. I had to get out after less than a minute, and I jumped back in the sauna. And I just sat there really depressed. And I was like, this was a big mistake. I shouldn't be here, because all the other people in the sauna, they were going in and out. So they were like, oh, that's my 4th time. That's my 5th time. That's my 6th time. How many have you done? I've just done one go. And I was like, I can't go back in. It's too much. It's too hard. It's too painful. I'm one of those people that can't do that. That's okay. I probably need to try and get a flight out of here tomorrow. And, I've wasted all this money. And then I still to this day don't know what it was, but something inside me said, just go and do it one more time. And then if it's terrible, you come back into the hot sauna and you can go home tomorrow, can't you? But at least you went back in a second time. So whatever that voice is, wherever that comes from, I still don't know. But I went back in, and again, the guy's there, he's like, relax, lower your shoulders, breathe into this. And something happened where from this, I went to this, and I went, and I just breathed into like what I can describe as a hot bath, which I know sounds crazy, but I breathed into this hot bath, and I just sat there. And I don't think it was as long as 5 minutes, but it was more than 3 minutes that I sat in that cold water for. And I was like, oh, this is all right. This is quite easy. I don't know what's going on here. What was the big deal? And I went back in the sauna, and I felt like a little hero. I was like, yes, I did it. And I went back in a 3rd and a 4th time. And I was telling this story the other day, actually, on somebody else's podcast. We've probably all been through these moments where there's the barrier of fear. There's that fear door. And this was one of the big moments for me because there's a mini documentary, I think, on YouTube. And by the way, I'm a huge Buffy fan. And there was a Buffy episode, podcast I was watching where the guy was talking about this. So it will make sense in a second. So in this little Buffy episode thing that this guy's put together on YouTube, he's telling about this fear documentary where they would get, I think, members of public to climb up the 2 flights of stairs in the swimming pool to the very top bouncy board. And they had GoPros everywhere, and they would see who would jump and who wouldn't jump. And you could see their faces after they jumped as well. So you'd see people go up to the edge and walk back again, and some people go downstairs, and you'd watch the body language and just, defeated, because you're probably going to be fine, but still the barrier of fear is there, isn't it? And you see the people that jump, and you just see the minute that they'd let go of the fear, and the minute they were in the air, everything changed, because it's like, well, I've committed to this now. And I've never done a bungee jump or a sky dive or anything, but this was my version of that, because I was the guy that couldn't go into the cold. I'm the guy that's got bad lungs. I'm the guy that's always had those sort of troubles, dyslexic. I've got tongue tiredness. So I've got all this fixed mindset going on. And probably for the first time in my life, I'd gone through that barrier. And it was, what was on the other side was freedom. It was complete freedom. And then, like I say, 4th, 5th time, if I fast forward a couple of years and just jump through a couple of bits that's happened since, I abseiled down a hospital for charity. I would never have done that without Wim Hof. Never. I remember, again, I had to climb over the edge of the hospital, and I did a little bit of breathing before I went over. But suddenly I was very conscious that this rope is keeping me alive. And if these ropes snap, it's game over. So there's that bit of fear as you're leaning back and you hear the ropes start to creak. But again, after the fear barrier was love and joy and entertainment and fun and all that sort of stuff. Me and my girlfriend, we quit our jobs in 2018, and I haven't spoke too much about this, but I was in a corporate role for nearly 15 years, or a corporation, and I had many roles and was middle management and that sort of thing. And probably thought I was going to retire in that job. Started there in 2004 and left there in end of 2018, early 2019. But I quit that job. And the reason I quit that job, because I wanted to go traveling. The reason I wanted to go traveling is I wanted to see the world, but I was always too afraid to do that. I wanted to go in 2002, 2001 when I'd finished university, but the fear, you need a job, you need a car, you need to get on with your life now and all this sort of stuff. So being somebody that was getting very close to middle age, I just jacked it all in, and we sold the bed, we sold the car. We went to my parents' house with, I think, about 6 boxes of stuff, and said, that's our lives in those boxes. Look after it, because we're going on a one-way ticket out of here. And I don't know when we're coming back again. And that was all made possible. If I dial it all the way back, it was the Wim Hof, and it was probably that night of going into the ice bath. And again, I try not to exaggerate, but I feel like a part of me died that night in that cold bath, and another part of me was reborn, because again, I'm not the person that can deal with cold. And when I talk to people now, they say, no, I could never do that. I was like, I'm the same. I'm a complete same. I can't do that. I can't get in the cold, but I did. And it was a lovely lesson in the fear door. It was also a beautiful lesson in what the human body is capable. And the mind is a funny, fickle thing, isn't it? Because it's trying to keep us safe, because it's like, this is crazy. You just shouldn't be in the cold. You know, you shouldn't be jumping off buildings. You shouldn't be all these different things. So the mind's trying to, it's doing its job. It's this ancient brain that's kept us alive for hundreds of thousands of years. But we've got that ability to sometimes take a step back. But I think with the Wim Hof ice bath that night, it was a very guttural feeling. It was this kind of, like I say, rebirth thing. I don't, whatever you want to call it. That was the bit for me that a switch happened in my brain. And now whenever I'm faced with something difficult or something scary, I've got a couple of reference points that I can go back to. And without that, I'm not sure I'd be sitting here in front of you today, because another fear of mine was talking on camera, talking to people, presenting. How the hell could I do a podcast? How the heck could I interview people? How could I talk to the camera and go, hey guys, welcome to, blah, 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 on today's, and you do all that sort of stuff on camera that you see all these other people do. I think, that's not me. But it just showed me that in all of us is this ability to dig a bit deeper. And I think probably as we get older, it probably gets more difficult if we haven't done that. But it's in all of you, it's in all of us. And we've just got to find some ways to tap into that. And I think the cold is one way to do that. And an example I'll give you, something that you can take very practically today and you can put into place if you don't do this already, is next time you have next time you have a shower, look at the dial and think, what would happen if I turn that to cold right now? Now, if you're like me, you won't want to do it because it's a hassle. Yeah. And I don't do cold showers every day. I don't do breath work every day, but I do have routines and practices and stuff. But if you go into that shower and think, I'm going to turn that shower on cold, because the worst thing that's going to happen is I can turn it back up again. That is like a micro fear response that you can put yourself in. And I think that's really good, because if you do that first thing in the morning, then I think the rest of your day gets a little bit easier, because you've maybe got to go to a meeting you don't want to go to, have a difficult conversation you don't have. You've had a cold shower, you've put yourself in some sort of stress response, and you did something that you didn't want to do, but you knew would instinctively be good for you. So that would be something I would recommend you guys could take away, is just that, turn that knob and just get in, get out again. Maybe see if you can count to 5, something like that. I don't know.